Hey guys, welcome to another online math lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning about how to rearrange the simple interest formula. And by the end of this lesson, our aim is to be able to find the interest rate, be able to find the time period, and finally be able to find the principal. Let's just pause the video here and take a couple of minutes to write these down. Alright, so going back to last lesson, we learned about the simple interest formula here. I equals P times R times T divided by 100. So in this lesson, we're going to be using this same formula, just rearranging it so we can find the values of P, R, and T. Alright, so let's start off by finding R, which is the interest rate. So going back to our formula, I equals PRT over 100. We're just going to rearrange this so we have R as the subject there. So that means we want R by itself. So I'm just going to start off by moving 100 to the other side, and I can do that by multiplying both sides by 100, like that. Something we learned in linear equations at the start of the year. So I've got 100I on the left equals PRT on the right. Once I've done that, I can divide both sides by P and T, because that means P times R times T, and the opposite of times is divide. So I'm going to just divide both sides by P and T. So that means I'm going to have 100I over PT equals R. Alright, so now I've got R by itself. I'll just rewrite it up here so it looks a bit nicer, and we'll put R on the left. So it's going to look like 100I over PT. So that's the formula we're going to be using to find the interest rate. Let's write that down in our books. And there's just a nicer looking version right below for those that don't really like my handwriting there. Alright, now let's have a go at using that formula there with this example problem. So here we're going to find the rate of simple interest if a principal of $8,000 increases to $11,040 in 4 years. Alright, so once again, there's the formula on the top right there. And to use that formula there, we need to know what I is, what P is, and what T is. So we don't do anything to the 100, let's just write that there. And we know what P is. Our principal is $8,000, it says there. So I'm going to write 8,000 instead of P there. And we know what time is as well. Time is 4 years there. So it's going to be 8,000 times 4. But we don't quite know what I is just yet. So I is the amount earned through interest. So we can find that out by doing the final value minus the original, which is the principal. So that means I is just going to be 11,040 minus 8,000, and that will give you a value of 3,040. So I just need to write 100 times 3,040 here. Once you've done that, just get your CAS calculators out again and just rewrite that straight into your calculator. So I need the fraction sign there. Do 100 times 3,040 up the top divided by 8,000 times 4, and you'll get a value of 9.5. So that means 9.5%. So we know the interest rate is going to be 9.5% per annum. Alright, so now let's try question B. We're doing the exact same here. I'm plugging in these different values into that formula on the top right. So we have R equals 100 times I. We'll work out what I is in just a second. Times P, which is 5,000. Just write that in down there. Times 9 months. I need to convert that into years. I'm going to start off by writing 9 months as a fraction of a year. So in a year, there's going to be 12 months. So it's going to be 9 out of 12. And we'll just convert that into a decimal. So 9 over 12, to convert that into a decimal, all you will do is get your CAS calculator out and do 9 divided by 12. Just write that in, 9 divided by 12. Press enter and you get 0.75. Just write that in there. So I can replace 9 with 0.75 there. And now let's have a go at finding I. So once again, you just do the final value minus the original. So it's 5,500 minus 5,000. And that will give you 500. So I'll just replace I with 500 there. And once you put that into your calculator, you should get a value of 13.3%. So your final answer will be 13.3% per annum. Just a key point there, make sure you convert the months into years. If you put a 9 in there, you would be incorrect. Alright, so now we know how to find the interest rate using that formula. Now let's have a go at calculating the time period. So in this case, we're looking for T there. We just need to rearrange the formula to get T. So pretty much the same concept here. I'm going to move the 100 over first. That gives me 100I equals PRT. And then I'm going to divide both sides by PR. So I'm going to get 100I over PR equals T. And we'll just rewrite it again so we get T on the left over PR. That will be the formula rearranged to find time. And once again, there's just a nicer version on the right there. Make sure you've got that down in your books. Now let's have a go at using this formula. So with this question, find the length of time it would take for $5,000 invested at an interest rate of 12% per annum to earn, firstly, $1,800 in interest. Alright, so there's our formula again on the top right. So we're looking for T this time in years. So T is going to be 100 times, we're trying to earn $1,800 in interest. We're going to replace I with 1,800 over P principal, which is the original amount, which is 5,000, times the interest rate of 12. Once you've got that, just enter that into your calculator again and you would get a final answer of 3 years. Alright, question B, exact same thing here. Just going to plug in the values again. So T is 100 times I, we're trying to earn 404 this time, so replace I with 404 over P, principal is the same, 5,000, and the rate is the same as well. Once again, just plug that into your calculator, and as you can see there, once you work that out, you'll get a value of 0.673. So the first part of our answer is going to be 0.673 years, but we're not quite done yet because the question tells us to give answers in days to the nearest day. So there's a total of 365 days per year, so you're going to need to do 365 times 0.673, and once again, just plug that into your calculator and you get a value of 245.645, and if you round that up, that becomes 246 days. So your final answer for B should be 246 days. So just make sure you're reading the question carefully and putting it in the correct units. Alright, and our last one is calculating the principal. So this time we're after P here, so you just need to rearrange the formula so we get P by itself. So you're going to have, once again, 100I on the left equals PRT, divide both sides by RT, and that gives you 100I over RT equals P. And once again, just rewrite it so you have P on the left there, just like that. And again, there's just a nicer version for you to look at. Just make sure you write that down in your books. Now, having a go at using this formula, let's do this question. Find the amount that should be invested in order to earn $1,500 interest over 3 years at an annual interest rate of 5%. So there's our formula again on the top right. So for question A, P equals 100. I, we're trying to earn 1,500. So I'll just replace I with 1,500 over R, which is 5% there, and time, which is 3. And just plug that into your calculator, and your calculator will give you a value of $10,000. Alright, now question B says find the amount that should be invested at an annual interest rate of 5% if you require the value of the investment to be $15,600 in 4 years time. Alright, so in this case, question B, let's have a go at using that formula again. P equals 100 times I can't quite see I anywhere there, but we still have the rate of 5% and the time. Alright, so what do we do in this case if we don't have I there? Alright, so when you're not given I, we've actually got a different formula here. Just make that a bit bigger. We got P equals A over 1 plus R times T over 100. So just make sure you write this down. We need this formula when you're not given I to find the principal. So we learnt about A last lesson. It's the final amount of the investment or loan. So remember, if you took out a loan to buy a car of $10,000, after the loan, you might actually be paying $15,000. So that's what A just is, the final amount again. Alright, now back to the question. Let's read B really quick again. It says find the amount that should be invested at an annual interest rate of 5% if you require the value of the investment to be $15,600 in 4 years time. So we want our money to be $15,600 at the end. So A here, I'm going to just rub that out. We actually don't need that. A is going to be $15,600. That's the final amount. Alright, now let's fill out the rest of the formula. So I got over 1 plus R times T, rate was 5%, T was 4 years over 100. And just close the bracket there. Once you've done that, we just plug that into the CAS calculator again. So that would look like, start off with the fraction there, type 15,600 over, let's fill out the bracket, got a bracket there, 1 plus, and I'll just do another fraction, 5 times 4 over 100. And there you go, there's your final answer. Alright, so this person, if they want their money to be $15,600 after the 4 years at a 5% interest rate, they would have had to invest an amount of $13,000 there. And just to recap, these are all the formulas we learned today. So make sure you've got each of these down somewhere in your books. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this lesson. Hopefully by now we all have a better idea of how to find the interest rate, how to find the time period, and also finding the principal. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys all back online.